This is Lyqa Maravilla, a registered psychometrician, a trying hard educator, motivational speaker, and author. And it's time for us to share stories, insights, and lessons as we keep trying hard to be better together. In our last episode, we talked about what you could do if you try your hardest and still failed. And this is the second part of that discussion kasi today we're going to talk about what we should do if we try hard and actually succeed. Yan ang pag-usapan natin in this new Trying Hard episode. Alright, now if you don't follow this podcast yet and if you're interested to talk to me about all things about trying hard and trying our best in life, trying our best to succeed, trying our best to do good, to choose to do what's right kahit anong nangyayari around us, do follow this podcast and make sure that you share this with your friends then if you find helpful to sa inyo and you think it's something that they also want to hear. Today's discussion is going to be what we should do after we succeed, and this is something that's very near and dear to me. Kasi, and I said this din sa episode 6, medyo sanay ako na matalo, sanay ako na maging underdog, sanay ako na I'm always this kid na no one notices, nasa back, just grinding away, no? Or usually kapag production nasa backstage, or I'm the one writing the script, or running around, building yung props or stuff like that. Pero, now that I'm in the position na kahit paano sabihin na natin, I achieved kahit papaano a bit of success in my own field, which is content creation, with having, sabihin natin, a number of subscribers and having all of these opportunities, like we have books coming out and stuff like that. I really don't know what to do. And I remember having this secret, which I'll share to you, which is this. The gold play button from YouTube has been here sa bahay for, I guess, a month, maybe more na ngayon. Pero nakakahon pa rin siya and nakatago siya sa kabilang kwarto and hindi ko pa siya binubuksan. Now, I don't want you to think that I'm not grateful for having 1 million subscribers on YouTube. Pero it's the same way din when I got yung award for 100,000 subscribers. Now, for those of you who are a bit unfamiliar dun sa sinasabi kong award or play button na ito, sa YouTube kasi once you get milestones sa subscriber count, they send you awards. So 100,000 subscribers gets you the silver play button. And since we crossed 1 million subscribers more than a month ago, maybe about 2 months na siguro ago, napadala na rin yung gold play button, which is what you get after hitting 1 million subscribers. Pero yun nga, nasa kabilang kwarto pa rin siya, hindi ko pa rin siya binubuksan. I don't know why. And that actually led to a conversation, which is going to turn into this new podcast episode. Apparently, I'm not comfortable talking about success. I'm not comfortable owning na nag-succeed ako or that I received kahit papaano a bit of appreciation for what I did. Hindi ako comfortable with getting good things in life. Sobrang sanay ako na masama yung nangyayari, na when something good actually happens, I don't know what to do with myself. And it's the same way for me getting compliments or things working out, or if there's a project that I really worked hard for and I worked hard on, pero biglang nag-succeed. It's like, sanay na sanay ako mag-expect ng masamang bagay na mangyari. And whenever something good happens, I'm racked with guilt. I remember having a conversation with Zandy kasi siya talaga yung makulit na nagpabukas nung box, nung silver play button pa lang. And ngayon, medyo nire-remind niya na rin ako na buksan na rin yung gold play button. Basta she's this voice who is always telling me na I'm doing a good job or that we should celebrate all of these victories pagdating sa Team Lyqa. She asked me point blank a few days ago if I felt guilty about getting to this point. Like, nagigilty ka ba na nagsasucceed ka? Do you feel like you don't deserve it? And it really got me to thinking talaga kasi in many ways it's true. I feel like I don't deserve to be here. I don't deserve to be this phase, this poster child for educational content creation. I always have this struggle with imposter syndrome. I tell people, I'm not a teacher, please don't call me a teacher. Or that there are a lot of other people who can teach better than I could, which is true. Maraming mas magagaling sa akin, maraming mas deserving. Pero for some reason, I'm the one in this position. And I can't help but feel a little bit guilty when I achieve some form of success because I feel like I'm not the right person for this role. Now, because of that conversation, we have all of these points right here kasi hinimay ko rin yung feelings ko. And again, this podcast is about that, open heart surgery every time. So, ito yung mga natutunan ko and I'll share them to you. That if you are also in the point ng buhay mo ngayon na, okay, why did I get this job or this promotion or why did I get this recognition that I don't deserve? Or that I worked hard for a dream and now it's here, now I'm sitting on my hands, I don't know what to do. Baka sakaling makatulong sa inyo. Or better yet, if you're still working on your dream, maybe this could help you cope with the entire process din faster than I did or that I am right now kasi hindi pa ako tapos dun sa process. Now, a few things to remember. All of them will start with T. What if you succeed? Number one, thank God and the people who helped you make it happen. And I know some of you don't believe in God. I do personally. I hope it's okay and that you respect it. I say that a lot. All of this is by Him, for Him, through Him. And it's true. Kasi I literally wouldn't be here if not for God. Yung pagiging top-notcher sa civil service, I never really planned on that. I didn't review or prepare for the exam, but it happened. And apparently that happened because of this. All of the awards, the recognitions, the people who I met then along the way who supported me sa cause na ito. You know, having Zandy as my right-hand woman, with her quitting her jobs and by faith diving into this project head first. And of course, all of the members of Team Lyqa who are devoting their time and effort helping us achieve yung dream to democratize education in the Philippines. I'm so grateful for all of them. I'm grateful for my family, for enabling me to do this, for allowing me to pursue my dreams. You know, one thing that not a lot of people know is that my parents are doing most of the chores right now at home because lahat kami nag-work. And because meron ako mga speaking engagements or gigs or magre-record ako, my mom would always send us off after dinner or after a meal saying na, oh, sige, akmakit na kayo, ako nang bahala dito. Which is something that I'm still uncomfortable seeing them do kasi nga, of course, their entire lives, they already worked sa office and nag-retire na sila and dapat ngayon nagpapahinga na lang sila. Pero they're doing all of these happily at that, ha? Hindi sila nagko-complain because they're supporting our dreams, kaming magkakapatid. I'm grateful that, they also had to give up some of their dreams to allow us to fly. I know my mom wanted to be a doctor, pero because she wanted a more stable life for the family, career government employee na siya. My dad, of course, also had to give up a lot of things. May mga sarili silang passions and desires that, they weren't able to pursue because they wanted to give us a stable life and enough money for a good education. So I'm grateful for them. I'm grateful for all of them. My lola, of course, my titas, who devoted their lives tutoring us, raising us, hanggang ngayon nagluluto for us. So I am a product of all of these people pitching in to make this project happen. So I'm grateful for them. So that's the first thing. When you succeed, thank God, thank the people who made this happen for you. And number 2 thing to do would be to treasure this memory. Now, this part right here I already struggle with. I'm the kind of person na kapag may hindi magandang nangyari, inuulit-ulit ko siya sa brain ko. Like, nire-work ko yung entire situation. Where did I go wrong? What could I have done better? Ano ba yung dapat na gawin sa susunod? Ano ba yung dapat ginawa ko or sabi ko? Or hindi ko sinabi. So, I like doing that. I like sitting with my failure. Pero for some reason, when things na maganda, when they happen, I brush them off. I remember last year, dun sa YouTube Fan Fest Moms Edition, nagpagawa kasi sila ng mga, of course, ng mga marketing materials, no? And sa Mall of Asia, merong poste doon na nakasticker yung mukha ko or yung picture ko. So from ceiling hanggang floor, doon sa may Starbucks sa Mall of Asia, may poste doon na ako yung nandun sa poste, isang buong poste. And of course, yung family ko being supportive, hinanap nila yung poste, nagpa-picture yung mga kapatid ko. Zandy was egging me napuntahan yung poste to take a picture with it. And pinilit niya talaga ako, pero parang ayaw ko. Kasi hindi ko alam kung bakit. It makes me feel guilty nga again when things like that happen. Pero you know what? I'll take a page from Mary's story in Luke chapter 2 verse 19. And this was after the shepherds went to Mary and Christ and Joseph. So nag-visit sila dun sa birth ni Christ. And then they said all of these wonderful things. There's a line there dun sa verse 19 that says, "But Mary treasured up all these things and pondered them in her heart." In other versions, it says that Mary kept all of these things in her heart and thought about them often. But I like the word treasured. So what Mary did after all of these happened, after she saw shepherds, absolute strangers, saying that this child that she bore was the Son of God, that scene, having that event happen, ang ginawa ni Mary was tinreasure niya yun sa heart niya. And iniisip-isip niya every now and then. I think we can take a page from that book. We can learn from that when good things happen, we can treasure it in our hearts, and then balik-balikan natin or isip-isipin natin every so often, lalo na kapag may mga challenging things na nangyayari. I've been trying to be better at this na rin, pero one aspect siguro in my life na nagagawa ko na ito is when it comes to public speaking. Like, kasama dun sa self-talk routine ko kapag magsaspeak ako at kinakabahan ako, yung sinasabi ko sa sarili ko na kaya mo yan, you've done this before, you've spoken to an even bigger crowd before, so I do that. So that could be a good thing to do then. Again, treasure this memory, keep it in your heart, and then think about it often, or balik-balikan natin. Now, third thing to do is to think about all of the lessons that you can glean. And I like doing that then. Siguro kailangan ko lang i-remind yung sarili ko na when I think about the things na nangyaring maganda, hindi ko i-overthink din yung mga hindi masyadong magandang nangyari. So think of the lessons that you can glean, all of the things that happened, ano yung mga tamang decisions, tamang sinabi, tamang process, tamang people din that you worked with, so you can keep collaborating in the future. Paano ka mag-improve? Okay, so again, think of the lessons that you can glean from this experience, and think of scaling din. How can I apply this in the future? Now, number 4 is to take the meat and throw the bones. Yung part na yan, again, is a little bit trickier for me. Ibig sabihin take the meat and throw the bones is that take everything that you can learn from all the experiences, and yung mga bagay na hindi nakakatulong or hindi makakabuti, itapon na sila or move on from them. Again, something I struggle with, something that I am trying to work on, but I think we could all do when things work out. So take the meat, take the good things, and then throw the bones. That's something that we could do when we succeed. Kunin natin yung mga magagandang bagay, yung mga magagandang takeaways, ano ba yung natutunan ko doon, and then yung hindi maganda, we have to move on. We have to just say na, okay, I'll learn from it, and then I'll move past it. This is a lot like one of the quotes that I shared with you before, which is everything is a learning experience. From the good, when you learn what to do. From the bad, you learn what not to do. It's just something that we have to do whether things didn't work out or if they actually did. I like doing it kapag hindi maganda yung nangyari, no? Pero apparently, kahit pag successful tayo, we could also do that. Learn from it, of course, pick out the things that we could make good use of, and then carry it into the future. And then for the bad ones, like sort them, throw the ones away na hindi makakatulong. Para wala tayong masyadong maraming emotional baggage at trauma na dinadala sa mga susunod na encounters natin sa life. That is a good way to go. Okay? Now, we already talked about 4 points. No, ulitin ko lang really quickly. Thank God and all the people who helped you. Treasure this memory. Keep it in your heart and balik-balikan, lalo na in times of struggle. Number 3, think of all the lessons that you can glean. And then number 4, take the meat and throw the bones. Move past or move on from the negative things that happened. And wag na natin bitin sa future yung mga yan. Kunin yung lessons, pero itapon yung sakit para mas maging maganda yung pag-move on natin. Now, let's jump right back in dun sa ating discussion. Again, we're talking about what to do if I succeed. Where you talked about how you should thank God, treasure this memory, think of all the lessons, take the meat and throw the bones. Actually, yung idiom na yon, ang totoong first word doon is chew the meat and throw the bones. So, ibig sabihin namnamin din. Pero dun lang tayo sa take para iba naman. And kasi yun yung gusto kong isipin na it's not just about chewing the meat. It's about taking it with you, like all of these positive things, baunin natin into the next quest. Because that is also another of the things that we are going to do. I'm going to talk about that later. Now, yung 5th thing that you should do when you succeed is this. You have to talk this out with other people. Okay? Talk and share all of these stories. Show your vulnerability. Tell them about the good, the bad, the ugly, the entire process. Share kung ano yung natutunan mo because this is how we can scale success. I remember when I had this interview and I told this story na rin doon sa Get Hired podcast. I had this interview with a former boss. And he asked me, how do you define success? Which is a very common question yan lumalabas lagi sa mga job interviews. No? And instantly, my answer was this. I define success not by how fast I get to the top, but by how many people I bring with me. And honestly, one way to do that is to share your stories, to tell people what worked out for you, how did you get to this point. Sa case ko, it's about talking to you guys, like telling you all of the intricacies, all the things happening, and kung ano yung nasa loob ng puso ko rin dito sa podcast na ito. Pero if hindi pa ready to dig deep with us dito sa Trying Hard community, meron ding, of course, content on YouTube. Like I talked about everything dun sa content creation process na rin halos, from choosing which topics that I talk about, creating my PowerPoint presentations, animating all of these videos, ano yung mga tips ko on how to maximize your phone to create a full video lesson. And all the webinars that I've been doing since the pandemic started or even before that, all I do is that. I talk and share my story and all of these tips, the lessons that I learned. And one thing na nagdadrive sa akin to do all of these things, kahit takot na takot ako magsalita most of the time, is alam ko na if I share the knowledge that I have, the people na nakikinig sa akin won't need to go through the exact same struggles that I went through for them to have yung success that they're chasing. I'm hoping na kung i-share ko yung mga natutunan ko, hindi nyo na ma-feel yung exact same way na naramdaman ko, yung depth or gravity nun kapag nasa same situation kayo. Now that I'm sharing itong aspect na to, that I'm just a trying hard person trying to make it in the real world, you won't feel ashamed when people call you trying hard because it's something that I felt before. I struggle with imposter syndrome and I try to share that with you so that when you feel that same way about things that happen to you, you feel a little bit less lonely. This is how we scale success. We scale success, we pull each other up by sharing our stories, by being vulnerable. Talking to people not only about the good things, but also the struggles that came with it. Telling you that I am far from perfect and that even if sometimes, again, this is us kasi, our need as human beings to look up to people. Now, there are people who look up to me. Some of you do. Some of you even tag me on the tweets and the messages that you send me are so kind, no? Pero I want to tear that image down. I want you to understand that I'm just a person like you. Again, trying really hard. So this is how we do it. When good things happen, let's talk about it. Let's share these stories with other people. Okay? So yan yung 5th point natin. The next one is this. Transcend. Okay? Ano ba ibig sabihin ng transcend? I wrote in my outline, transcend and find another goal. And that part right there is also very hard for me. Kasi when you're doing one thing for a long time, katulad sa akin, creating videos on YouTube, you kind of get into this pattern, no? May sync na, may parang dance or rhythm na to what you do. And, being in that same situation, it becomes your comfort zone. And I know it's hard to think about, no? Lalo na for those of you who are just, starting out, building your dream na, eventually, itong bagay na hindi ako comfortable doing, magiging comfort zone ko siya. Pero, that's true. Kasi people adapt, people change. And even if it was so hard for me to create video lessons before, I quickly realized that because I love doing this is now my comfort zone. This is now what I love doing. But, okay, and again, because meron ng pattern doon, meron ng schedule doon, I need to find another dream. And I'm not saying na I'm letting go of creating content on YouTube, ha? Hindi. Commitment ko yon until mabuo yung library na meron tayong one math video every Monday, one language video every Wednesday, and bonus content ng Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. And I have been true to that commitment for most part, for most of the weeks itong past, minus yung hiatus that I took, in the middle of this year. Hindi ko yun ititigil. But there are other things to work on. This podcast, for example, is a great example of that. Like, I could have just talked about the things that I wanted to put out into the world na edited na, alam niyo yun, na less vulnerable like I am in this podcast. Yung mga canned na lessons na naka-outline, na pwede kong putol-putulin. Pero itong Trying Hard podcast is, again, another thing to do. It transcends yung original goal, which is to create just math videos. So find another goal. When you talk about transcend, I love that word. I had an event before na na-invite ako, Transcend yung title. Oddly, Zandy was also one of the organizers ng event na yun. But to transcend is different dun sa usual idea natin ng ascend tsaka descend, no? Kasi ang ascend is about climbing up, ang descend is climbing or going down. At transcend is to do even bigger things. Something else na wala dun sa scale nung up and down na limitation ng ascension tsaka descension. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Hindi lang siya about promotion na tumataas yung rango mo. It's about aiming for something na nasa ibang ibayo. Nasa totally different plane of existence. And that is something that we could do if we succeed. For example, okay, Coach Lyqa, magtaas ang grades ko sa school. Yes, and yung ganong klaseng answer ba? Na, you have great grades, that's good. So let's celebrate that, let's treasure that, let's think of the things that you can glean from it. Let's talk about that with your classmates para tumaas din yung grades nila. But now what? We have to transcend. What else can you be better at? What are the other traits that you want to learn or to have? Ano yung mga pwede pa nating palakasin? So again, go and find another dream. Transcend. Okay? The enemy of progress is stagnation, no? Kapag naging komportable na tayo or kumpiyansa na tayo doon sa ginagawa natin, nawala na tayong gustong baguhin, ayaw natin na mangyari yon. Okay? So again, transcend and find another goal. Now, if you look at it, there is another one na hindi ko pa na-mention. And I'll preface this part or I'll lead with this part, no. If you look at stories sa totoong buhay or even in the Bible or even in fairy tales, no, may very questionable na existence and they lived happily ever after. I know most fairy tales end with that line, pero we know for a fact na in life, it usually doesn't work out like that. I know some of you are married, some of you are in a long-term relationship, no? And we all know that it comes with its own set of struggles. So again, walang happily ever after in life. Hindi ganun kadali yung konsepto na yon. And even in the Bible, if you look at all these heroes, all of these great men and women, it's very rare that you find a character or a person with a full arc. no? Of course, with the exception of Christ, no? Kasi siya talaga yung, okay, nag-ascend siya after, and of course, eternity into the future. Pero if you look at, say, David, right? David was a great hero of his time. Alam mo yun, chosen one siya. Pero towards the end of his life, you see, Bathsheba, and yung kwento na yun na nagkaroon siya ng mga wrong decisions, ng sins, ng struggles in life. You have, even yung mga great heroes like Peter, the apostle, of course, after building up the church after Christ, towards the end of his life, of course, before his martyrdom, we see that the young church struggled. They fought against each other. They had differences, no? So, hindi siya talaga full arc na, okay, after this next mountain na ika-conquer ko or na mag-work out ito, biglang magically everything's okay. Parang wala masyadong clear na retirement track when it comes to that. But, okay, and looking at all these passages from my youth and looking back at it, I remembered the story of Elijah, no, and his journey. Now, just for the people, for a bit of a context, the prophet Elijah is one of the huge characters in the Bible. And I could always relate to him kasi he has his own, and again, this is just my opinion, no, his own set of struggles when it comes to mental health. Medyo, kung ako yung magsasabi ha, and again, this is just me, medyo may counting depression or even baka nga may possibility na may pagka-bipolar itong si Elijah, no? And ibang klase siya. Like, he could win a giant victory against the prophets of Baal. May magandang mangyayari. And then, after that beautiful thing na nangyari, you know what Elijah did? Pumunta siya sa kuweba, and then he asked God to take his life. So, again, in many ways, yung idea na yun na, okay, itong prophet Elijah, hindi rin siya able to accept yung success or yung victory. Like, he also didn't know what to do with it. He would be so high on happy hormones after God performs all of these miracles, and in the next breath, when the king says na, I will have you killed, biglang lulugbok na naman siya, no? Nakaka-relate ako dun na even when good things happen, you forget about them sa susunod na negative comment that you receive or may mga ganitong nangyayari. Pero I'm using Elijah as an example kasi towards the end of his life, there's something significant din that we could do dun sa buhay niya na na-reflect yun, which is the last thing na pwede natin gawin when we succeed. Ano yun? That is to train a successor. And hindi lang basta to train a successor. One thing that Elijah was able to do was to have a successor who was better than him. This is something that even King David probably wouldn't be able to say. Kasi even though his son Solomon, who became king after he died, was known as the wisest king of all, he had his own, his own weaknesses meron siyang mga wives and multiple concubines. He also turned away from God. Si Moses, di ba? If you think about it, yung generation that he led out of Egypt forgot about yung magandang mga nangyari. They wandered in the desert. Joshua was also a great guy, pero again, may mga flaws dun sa pagpasa nung anointing eh. Pero with Elijah and Elisha, kahit papaano, malinaw that Elisha was able to receive twice the anointing that Elijah had. And it was because he asked for it. Now, yung pinakahuling part ng story ni Elijah, kasi he wasn't di ba? Someone who died of natural causes. He was taken up in the sky. Very magical or very miraculous yung story na sinundo siya ng chariot of fire ni God. So, hindi siya namatay physically sa body. Hindi ganun yung kwento. So, he was taken up to the sky. And he told Elisha, yung kanyang successor, after this kid has been following him, no, and watching him perform all of these wonders, he told him na, sige, you'll get a double portion of my anointing if you see me go. That's the sign. Ano ibig sabihin nun? In many ways, and again, this is just me, no? In my personal reading dun sa passage na yon. It was like he told Elisha na, okay, you will learn everything I know. You'll be able to do twice as much as I did, but only if you stick with me until the end. And he had Elisha with him up until the end. So it pays to know na if we succeed, maybe we could start thinking of training someone to be able to do something even better than yung nagawa natin. And it's something that I've been thinking of na rin. How do I scale the movement? How do I make this about more than me making videos in my own room? And that is something that I'm working on right now. And I'm excited about. I want to bring in, a set of other educational content creators, teachers who are as passionate about their craft, and of course who learned a lot from their own fields and are able to share it with other people as well. I want Team Lyqa to be more than just a name, that's on the plaque or on the wall. I want there to be an actual team, an army of teachers who are creating content online. Na hindi na lang sana mag-fall on my shoulders to create the videos na request ng ibang mga tao, but that I could share the load with other people too. And that they would eventually be even better than I am. So that is something that I learned dito sa buong process na ito. Like again, having this open heart surgery with you. What to do if you succeed. Again, rundown lang natin really quickly. Thank God, thank everyone who helped you become who you are, helped you succeed in whatever you did. Treasure this memory, hold it in your heart, think about it often, lalo na kapag nagsistruggle ka. Don't forget about it, no? Another thing, number 3, think about all the lessons that you can glean from it. Himayin, aralin, okay, namnamin yung mga yan. Number 4, take the meat and throw the bones. Ibig sabihin, if you think about all the lessons that you can glean, take every learning that you could, pero you should also throw the bones or move past the pain, the hurt, or the bad things. Number 5, talk and share this with other people. Again, be vulnerable, share the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is how we can impact and influence change then, so they can maybe do the same way or even improve on the process that you did. Transcend and find another dream. Hindi enough na, okay, now that I'm this old and I got my first million, it ends here. Hindi ganon. Go and find something else to pursue. And then, yung pinakahuli is to try to train someone who will be even better than you. That's my takeaway dun sa entire process na to and asking myself that question. And maybe, and again, I'm still in this journey, maybe I can feel a little bit less guilty that I'm achieving some form of success in what I'm doing. We all work hard for our dreams, and that's the main war cry ng Trying Hard podcast. But as we do that, we must remember that the journey doesn't end doon sa pag-achieve natin nung one thing that we're trying so hard to achieve right now. There are other dreams to pursue. There are other goals to accomplish. There are other people who need us. And as long as we're alive, and again, I'm talking to you knowing that iba-iba po tayo ng age dito sa community na to. Knowing that the fact that you're still here, able to listen to this podcast, means that you're not done yet. You're never too young to step up. You're never too old to start. So yes, you can still start pursuing your dreams. Now, a good way to start would be to be part of this community. Again, if you're someone who wants to try hard for your dream, regardless of your age, or kung nasan ka man ngayon, or kung ano man yung dream na yan, you can join our community. You also have a new Facebook group. You can find it at www.facebook.com/groups/tryinghardpodcast. Okay, right now we have almost 200 members, so you can join the community, join the discussion. Pag-usapan natin, parang after show, discussion din ng mga episodes and the things that you want to share with the people and the other tryhards sa Pilipinas and all over the world. You can find us on Facebook. And if you want to share anything that you learned from this podcast, or you want to ask me anything, or just, just let a bit of your heart out din. Kung may mga bagay kayong gustong idagdag dito sa topic natin, may mga suggestions din kayo on what you could do if you succeed, go and post them online. Just use the hashtag trying hard with Lyqa. So that's hashtag trying hard with LYQA para mahanap namin kayo. And of course, don't forget to follow this podcast if you haven't yet. Share this episode with your friends, lalo na if you feel na parang, okay, pareho kami ng situation ngayon or that my friend needs to hear this. I would really appreciate that. And thank you for all the reviews din sa Apple Podcast. Maraming salamat sa mga nagsulat ng reviews and sa lahat ng mga comments at messages ninyo. I appreciate that a lot. This is just the beginning. The next episode will be extra special too. It's the first time that we're going to have a guest in the podcast. And just a bit of a game then. I hope you guess it right. Basta ang ating first guest is someone who also became part of this story. Kasi kung hindi dahil sa kanya at hindi niya ako inask to be in her own podcast, this podcast wouldn't have been born. So, yun na yung clue ninyo sa ating next guest, sa ating first guest sa podcast series na ito. And we'll talk to you soon. So again, don't forget to follow. And we'll talk to you online. As we always say, dream big, work hard, start now. And even when people will call you trying hard or call you a try hard, tuloy-tuloy na tayo. We are trying hard people and we try not to care then about what they would say.